Hello, little chefs. I'm Chef Alexia, and I'm here to teach you not just the recipes, but the skills and the mindset of a chef. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the most basic peppers. I'm gonna show you how to use them, how to choose them, and how to store them. So today we're gonna start with the bell peppers. I chose only sweet peppers and I found about 5-6 varieties in the supermarket, but we're gonna do another section for spicy peppers because there's so many kinds of them that they need like their own section. I could talk about peppers all day long. Unfortunately, on our daily lives, we tend to only use the bell peppers, which is these peppers right here. That's why I wanted to let you know about more varieties, because you could expand your knowledge and be able to create more dishes if you know about more peppers. So I'm gonna start with the bell pepper, and I don't know if you guys knew that, but bell peppers actually started in Mexico, and then Columbus took them over to Spain, and that's how they actually ended up towards in Europe and Asia and all these other places. But initially they were not even there, so they were not part of their cuisine. Peppers actually start green, then go into a yellow, then turn into an orange, and then turn into a red. So actually this pepper eventually ends up being red. We find them in the supermarket in all different colors because nobody has the time to wait for them to mature. So what we do is we get the green peppers, and this pepper is actually a little bit more bitter. And as they change colors, they become sweeter and sweeter. That's why the red ones are a little bit easier to eat when we digest them, especially raw, versus the green ones. Now, doing my research, because before I go live, I want to do some research and see if I can learn something new. Because being a chef, that doesn't mean I know everything. You have to continuously evolve. And you know sometimes how we have peppers and they're a little bit too bitter, too strong. And actually, I have stopped eating peppers in salads because I find them extremely strong. So I was doing some research, and that is a little bit questionable. So I want together for us to explore this later, is that there's two different types of pepper. Do you see how this one has like 4 points right here? So this one is supposed to be the female pepper, and female pepper have more seeds, and they're supposed to be a little bit sweeter, not as bitter as the male. So the male has only 3 points. You see how these ones have 3 points? And I would always see them different, and I would actually always choose them depending on what the use was going to be in the kitchen and how I wanted to cut them. So for example, if I wanted to do stuffed peppers, I always chose the bigger one because it's easier to cut and it's easier to put a lid. If I wanted to cut into salads, I would actually choose the ones that had 3 points. Now, botanically, there's no female and males. Oh, and by the way, peppers are actually a fruit, another fruit that we use as vegetable. But even though botanically it's not correct, we shouldn't call them male and female, and a lot of botanists basically say that this is not accurate, that one is sweeter than the other one. But there's been people that have cut them up, tasted them, and they did say, yes, the female is a little sweeter than the male. So that's a little experiment you could do at home, and I want to do as well. So this is bell peppers. What we're looking for in all the peppers when we choose them in the supermarket is basically that they have a nice glossy skin. The stem is nice and green. In this particular case, I actually chose this one to show you that you see a little bit deterioration right here, and there's a little bit of marks on the skin that basically is a little bit destroyed on the top. So this pepper wouldn't be the perfect pepper to buy, but I always want to bring you an example of a pepper that is not good. What you want to look for is exactly this. You see how this stem is super green, it's nice and glossy, there's no indentations, and you know how peppers, when we have them for a long time, they start basically to become wrinkled. We don't want to see any wrinkles. So this is what we're looking for, and this is the things that we should avoid when we're choosing bell peppers. What I like to use bell peppers for is actually to stuff them. We do that a lot in Greek cuisine. And then I also like to put in salads a little bit the red ones. I also love to grill all types of peppers because it makes them a little bit sweeter, easier to eat. These peppers have the thickest skin out of all the peppers that I have here. So I'm gonna show you later what we used to do in fine dining when we would cut red peppers to make them a little bit thinner and easier to eat. So now I'm gonna move on to the next pepper, and the next pepper is basically a baby pepper that is a hybrid, and that was created in the 90s. So this pepper did not exist up until the 90s. I love this in the house because they're sweet and much easier to use in the kitchen. As well, they're smaller portions, so therefore I don't have to cut a pepper in and keep it open if I don't have to use that much. So I love those, and I love to stuff those as well. The other day I did goat cheese with a mushroom duxelle and a truffle oil, and we stuffed them, we baked them, removed the skin, and it was a beautiful pepper. The next pepper that we have, and is one of my favorite peppers, I didn't know about this until I went to culinary school because in Greece we don't have them. This is called a Poblano pepper and is found in Mexico. So this pepper is actually used to be stuffed for Poblano Releños peppers that are stuffed with either mincemeat or cheeses, or the mole poblano, which is a chocolate sauce found in Mexico. And I love to make both of these dishes. I have become an addict of peppers since I learned about this. And the beautiful thing about the poblano pepper is actually that if it's dried, it's called ancho chili pepper. But if it's smoked, it's called chipotle. And chipotle you could find in a can already smoked and ready to use. So this is very interesting because the same pepper makes all these ingredients that we could use. Now the next pepper that I have here is called Cubanelle pepper. And Cubanelle pepper looks very similar to the Hungarian pepper or the pepper that is called banana pepper that is mostly found in my country. These peppers are a little bit spicier, but again, they're amazing to stuff with cheeses or any type of different, basically cheeses from any country. It just tastes really good. And this pepper is a little bit thinner skinned than the bell pepper. So it's much easier to eat, more pleasant, and a little bit spicy. We always like that. I'm gonna go now to the last pepper, and this one is not found very much in the United States. This pepper, in Greece we call it Piperia florinis, because it actually comes from Florina, which is an area in Greece. So these peppers came from Brazil. They were planted all over Greece, but Florina was the only area where they actually were able to be used. These ones are sweet, very easy to stuff, so they're very great to cut them either in half or empty the core inside and stuff them. And they are so great that somewhere in the 90s we got certified in Greece that only these peppers are found in Florina, and therefore people actually have been grilling them, actually removing the skin and pickling them and sending them all over the world. So you could go in the supermarket and find them like this, but in this version it's very hard to find, and they have a very nice and sweet flavor. I love to just roast them and eat them with salmon. That is a great meal. So this is all about peppers. Now we're gonna have to go and I'm gonna have to show you how to cut them. And before we even go on cutting, what I wanna tell you is that the way that you would store peppers is that you would actually put them in a plastic bag and keep them refrigerated for up to 5 days. This is not something you leave outside because it will deteriorate way faster. Let's go ahead and go on how to cut a pepper. So I'm gonna start actually with this pepper right here, the bell pepper. And I want to show you a couple of ways, and basically it depends on you. How do you want to cut the pepper? So for me, I have a couple of ways. If I'm going to stuff them, I just cut it right here at the top. Perfect. I remove the core inside, and usually all that already holds all the seeds, so I don't have to deal with that. But then I will take I'm going to actually keep this because I'm going to use it. And then I go like that on the side and all the seeds come out. Also, I could put my hand a little bit and remove the seeds. The other thing that I like to do, if there's some peppers that have like a lot of seeds that are very small, I like to put it under the water and just rinse them inside, and that takes it right away. So this would be if I wanted to stuff them. So now I'm gonna show you another way. So another way that you could cut it is you go from the stem to the bottom, try it without touching the seeds, and you cut stripes. Okay, so you could do this standing up, and actually the peppers that have 4 sides are a little bit easier to do that. That's why I told you earlier, when I choose peppers, depending on what, I choose the pepper, like if it has 4 sides, this is the easiest way to cut it, which is going straight down, and then I'm just gonna go like that. The point, little chef, you know that we should have the least waste possible. So in this case, I have a little bit right here, and I will still chop it up and put it in the dish that I'm making. So this would be another way to cut it. But one of my favorite ways to cut it is actually, I go right here and I put an indentation, and then I go right in the core, and then I roll the pepper. Right here, boom. And I have a little bit less waste. So then I have a whole pepper. Now, when you want to go and slice it, what I want you to think about, little chef, is the top side, the skin, is actually very hard to cut. So I always flip them over and I cut them like this. It's a little bit easier on the knife. All right, wonderful. Now, I wanted to show you something else, one more pepper. So for the stuffing here, I'm gonna actually keep the green part. And to tell you the truth, this is one of my favorite things to eat on a pepper. When I roast them, I actually take this part and it's like I have a shrimp or something. Like, I love to do this. So I want you to cut a little bit more so the green is actually there. Oh, that was a tough one. And again, the seeds are all stayed here, so you don't have to lose them, and then you gotta work harder. Because I know some of you might cut them in half, and when you cut them in half, you basically just cut all the seeds and they're everywhere in your cutting board and you don't know what to do. I only have 2 seeds right here, and I cut all these peppers already. So I want you to cut it like that to avoid, what you wanna do in the kitchen is you gotta be efficient. So you always wanna find the best way that you can treat an ingredient according to the knowledge that you have from other chefs that you learn, and it works out for you, so you could be more efficient, faster, and those are the 2 things you're really looking for, and have the less waste.